Buenos dias. The Wilderness Leadership School is the experiential education arm of the Wilderness Foundation South Africa. We are the practical side of doing wilderness trails for experiential education. The Mfolozi Shishlui National Park has an area of about 500 square kilometers, and we take small groups of a maximum 8 people on foot to do what we term primitive trails. Within the area, there's the largest population of white rhino left in Africa. At the same time, in the same area, we find all the other big game, elephants, buffaloes, lions, leopards, crocodiles. We find both rhino species, the black rhinoceros and the white rhinoceros. We walk small groups with 2 guides at a time. I was the photographer, other guide here. Both guides armed with high-powered rifles, but obviously the main aim is not to need to use the rifles. And in 55 years of doing trails in the Mfolozi, we have not had a single trailist injured and not had to shoot a single rhino in that time. We view rhinos on foot. They're very short-sighted animals, and if you have the wind conditions right, they can't see you. At that distance, they can't see the trail group. Movement's the one thing that gives us away, and sound and smells. Rhinos are survivors of the dinosaur age. They've survived relatively unchanged for 23 million years. Rhino horn is related to that legendary creature, the unicorn, and for that reason, unfortunately, it is considered to have magical and medical powers. Whereas all it really is compressed keratin, which is the same compound as your fingernails. The rules of the bush out there are that the big animals always have right of way. And once again, although we might be armed, we find discretion is the better part of valor. And through respect, we make sure we move out of their way. We walk along the ancient rhino paths. We don't create our own paths. And so we often have encounters along their paths. They have rubbing posts, which they attend to regularly. They don't have fingers like us, so they can't scratch when the ticks bite them. So they rub on rocks, and they'll polish up rocks to being shiny like marble at times. They also have rubbing posts, which they will use for underarms and in the groin area, and they'll scratch on these, often in great pleasure and making a lot of very interesting sounds. Some of our guides try the same thing, just to show what it's really like. This is on the side of a pan, and you can see the birds on the animal's back. These are oxpeckers, the security company that works for the rhino. A nice mutualistic relationship there. The moment they see humans, they fly up off the rhino and they make a chee, 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 chee sound. We use that as an early warning. If that sound comes, we know there's a big animal nearby, and the rhinos react to it immediately, so they immediately become aware. They feed off the ticks on the rhino. They take hair out of the ears of the rhino to make their nests out of, and the rhino benefits by the early warning system, and at the same time he benefits by being cleaned up of ticks that he can't get to. The calves are very curious animals, and so will often, once they've passed, turn around and come back. And it's seldom that rhino charge at people. What they're really doing is running away. And if they happen to be facing your way, they run your way. In the reserve, unfortunately, it's getting to the point where we're having to have anti-poaching patrols regularly and watching after the rhinos. Thank you very much. I'm handing you to Mr. Andrew Muir.
Thanks. Just want to make the point that for some people, particularly those from townships, going on a 5-day wilderness trail in a place like the Mfolozi is for them equivalent, I think, to climbing a major peak. The peaks are also peaks of personal, of stretching oneself above and beyond. And so whilst on the one side, we have this incredible wildlife and the great natural places left fairly intact, we also have to deal with the realities of crime and the realities of poaching. A rhino horn, average-sized rhino horn from the ground to my hand on the black market is worth 250,000 US. That is, unfortunately, worth 8 times more than a live rhino. And that is the problem that we are now having globally. As of this morning, it was reported to me that we've lost 108 rhino in South Africa since the 1st of January this year, all poached. We are losing rhino at a rate of almost 2 a day. At this rate, we predict extinction in the wild by 2025. South Africa is a custodian to 90% of the world's rhino. And the reason for that, they've been poached out of all the other 24 countries where they used to occur naturally. And so one of the things that we have done is launch a massive awareness and educational program. This is a program that we've launched to extend the ranges of rhino. This is a live rhino, I'm pleased to inform you. Actually, this technique of removal is far less stressful than if we had to catch the animal, dart it, get in a crane, put it on a truck, move it across uneven terrain, put it in a boma. But one of the ways we're trying to protect them is to create new habitats and new breeding areas. And this really is what we want, to be in a position where rhino can just occur naturally in their home ranges. In 1958, there were 400 rhino left in the world, white rhino. And our founder led the team that saved the rhino from extinction. Ian Play is now 85 years old, and an 85-year-old man now has to see it happening all over again. As you think you have a success, as you think you have achieved, it can start all over again, which is exactly what's happened with this species. And so really, we are fighting, if you like, in military terms, a rearguard action. And it's critical that this action is not just fought by South Africans, but by the globe. I thank you for your time.